What is up, guys, and welcome back to another Friday the 13th the game video. And in today's video I'm going to be giving you guys tips and tricks to using Jason in Friday the 13th the game. So let's get right into the video, shall we? So here is the first tip. So as soon as you start the game, most people who use Jason goes to the phone cabin and places a trap, or they go straight to the first counselor bubble they see. What I do is I go straight to the electrical boxes and destroy them, then place a trap. Though if you're using a Jason that doesn't have very many traps, make sure it's linked to the Tommy cabin. If it is, place a trap. Most of the time a counselor will go there to repair it, to call Tommy, and then that's a free kill. Plus it helps if you don't want Tommy into the game to make the match go faster, and to keep him from coming in to kill you if your mask is off. So the second tip is to quick throw with a throwing knife. You are more likely going to hit a counselor if you quick throw it. If you're trying to aim, you are more than likely going to miss because the counselor is most likely going to dodge it, or be far ahead of you if they're running outside. If you quick throw it, they will not expect it and get hit from it, and they won't have a chance to dodge it. Just get the hang of remembering where the crosshairs are at for the throwing knife. So the third tip is to hit a counselor with a throwing knife to cancel them out of climbing through a window. Most of the time you would grab them out of a window, but if you are kind of a good distance away from them, it's best to hit them with one so it will cancel them from climbing through it. Then you'll have a chance to grab them if they still try to climb through it. Tip number 4. Go into combat stance when breaking down a door. Breaking a door down this way is much faster than just to hold it in when not in combat mode. It's even faster when you're using a Jason that has the destruction perk as their strength. So tip number 5 is to go into sense mode while breaking down doors. You don't necessarily have to do this every time, but it's useful when a counselor is trying to sneak and go out the window when you're breaking down the door. While you're in sense mode, if the cabin is glowing red, he or she is still in there, so you can keep hitting the door. When it's not red, they are most likely going out the window or already out the window running to another cabin. So tip number 6 is when a counselor is camping at a window inside a cabin, they are waiting for you to get close to them so they can run and jump out the window and run off. Once you get close to them, let them jump out the window. Sometimes they won't run off. They will camp at the window still and wait for you to morph outside so they can jump back in. Of course, you can break the window to prevent that from happening, but they may go through it anyway, or they will just run off and go to a different cabin and do the same thing unless you can catch them outside before they do that. Though if you let them jump outside, go into your sense mode and see if they are camping the window or running off. If they are camping the window and is waiting for you to morph, go into stock mode. The counselor usually waits to get that static scene on their screen to let them know that you morphed so they could jump back into the cabin. Going into stock mode makes the static scene on their screen as well, making them think you morphed. Then they will go through the window into the cabin and you can grab them. I have did this many times before and it has worked a lot of the time, though sometimes they won't buy it. Tip number 7 is try breaking all windows on a cabin when the counselor is inside, especially if the cabin doesn't have very many windows. This can put a little pressure on the counselor because it can cause damage to them when they go out the window while you're breaking down the door. If they go out the window anyway, remember if they don't have thick skin on, you can just throw one knife at them and they will start limping if they don't have that perk. Tip number 8. Hit a counselor with a throwing knife if they lunge through the window. It's almost impossible to grab the counselor out of a window when they lunge. Instead, hit them with a throwing knife when they jump through to deal some damage to them. Just 2 throwing knives make them limp if they don't have the perk thick skin on. Tip number 9. Try to block as much as possible, especially if you're chasing a counselor indoors. This is something I don't see a whole lot of Jasons do. It's very useful and you won't get stunned if they hit you. A lot of counselors like to hide behind doors and wait for you to come into the room so they can hit you. Instead of just walking in and trying to grab them, hold your block button in to surprise them and then grab them or hit them after you block their hit. Blocking a hit takes the durability down on a weapon more than anything, so if they break their weapon and can't find another one, you definitely have the advantage. Blocking also helps when you're chasing a counselor outside and they are almost out of stamina. They will wait until you get close enough so they can hit you. That's when you block when they get close, so you won't get stunned. And they don't get that stamina boost either. So the last tip for the video is to go in and out of combat stance before you grab a counselor. This will help you a lot on grabbing a counselor and not missing all the time, especially since now Jason can't move for a little bit if you miss the grab. Then the counselor will just hit you to stun you and they run off. The grab with range isn't that great, so that's why going into combat stance will help a lot. Going into combat stance auto aims to the counselor, and then you can go out of it really fast to hit the grab button. If you get good enough at doing this, you can grab the counselor almost every time. So anyway guys, there you guys have it. 10 tips and tricks to using Jason in Friday the 13th the game. Do you guys have any other tips and tricks? Make sure you put it in the comments below, because I'm definitely planning on making another part for this.